Welcome to the English Out Loud podcast, a podcast where I give you tips on how you can enhance your spoken English. My name is Pat. I'm from Toronto, from Canada, and this is actually my first time ever having a live audience on Clubhouse. While I make this podcast, as I speak, I've got 5 listeners, and thank you very much, each and every one of you, for joining, because it makes it a lot more fun. It keeps me motivated when I've got a little audience, I find. I like speaking to an audience. I'm good at it, maybe. That's for them to decide. Today I want to be talking all about the American R sound, the stressed American R sound to be exact. You see, the stressed American R sound is the R that we hear if R is beginning a word, like in the word red, real, railroad, really. That's a stressed R sound. Just as well, R, when it is following a consonant, is going to be a stressed R. Like we hear this in the word tree or the word great, great. A stressed R. In a previous episode, I talked a little bit about the unstressed R, which is the sound R. It's the sound that we get when R is not starting a syllable, but when R is coming after a vowel. And I'll get into that in more detail another time, but let's get into this stressed R stuff. So, as I mentioned, R starting a word. We want to focus very closely on this because you see, this sound, it actually employs your entire mouth. Your lips, your jaw, your tongue. Everything needs to be focused on to get this sound nice and clear. Not to mention, this is the most difficult sound in the American accent to learn. This is not one that you're going to get overnight. This is one that you're going to get, well, if you listen to this podcast again, you're going to get it. And actually also, if you do some practice exercises, such as my episode 53. How do you practice the R sound? You listen to that episode and you read along in the script, and you're going to have a fantastic R sound in no time. That's how you practice it. Now you see, in many languages, the difficulty of the R sound is tapping your tongue to the roof of your mouth. And if this is you want to really pay close attention to where your tongue's moving in your mouth when you're talking. You see, if you feel that the tip of your tongue goes up towards the roof of your mouth, you got to focus on pointing it down. You got to focus on keeping it out of the way. Otherwise, you're going to have that r kind of sound. And we, of course, want to avoid that if you want the American R. That sound isn't bad. It's not a bad sound in English by any means. However, if you don't want to make that anymore, well, here's how you do it. We got to stretch it out a little bit. We got to get a good feel for the R position, that R kind of mouth position. Here's how we make that position. I'll give you a quick rundown for my friends on Clubhouse here at the moment. Here's how you make that R position. We're going to have the jaw drop down, with the tongue go down low in the mouth. Then, the corners of your tongue come upwards. They come upwards towards the teeth, the top teeth in the roof of the mouth. Your tongue pulls back, and the sides of your tongue are up touching your top teeth, around the middle of your mouth. Here's what this sounds like when you make that transition. R. R. That's what that sounds like. And Mr. Pyboon, would you be able to give that a shot for me? Can I hear you try and make an R sound?
Yep, I try. R.
Yes, sir. Could I hear that one more time? I'll show this one. If you like, I could show this one on the podcast here. I'll make you a star.
R.
That's it. That's it. R. You bring your tongue back real tense. You bring your jaw up with it. The next step. Now just read out a couple of words with this R sound. You want to repeat after me? Far. Car. Arm. We're really stretching this sound out. Star. Now, that is the unstressed R. Now, when we employ the stressed R, like I said, when R is starting a word, here's what we got to do. We start with the tongue pulled back in that R position, with the tongue high up in the mouth, pulled back and tense. You want to ensure that your teeth are close together. If your jaw is dropped down, you kind of get a bit of a distorted sound. You get a little bit of a sound that's like R. It's not quite what we want. So we got to keep the teeth close together. Here's the tricky part. You want to bring the corners of your lips in towards the center, as if you're pushing them away from your face, as if you got like a bird's beak. You know what I mean? Like a beak of a bird pushing the lips away from your face. Wah. And you want to try saying that just like that, as if it's a W. Wah. Wah. You see, when we make the stressed R, we make the W movement with the lips. Wah. Wah. Pushed away from the face. To make a stressed R, we put the tongue into the R position and we make the W movement. Ruh. Ruh. Keeping the teeth close together. Very close together. That's important. And watching that the tip of your tongue does not bounce off of the roof of your mouth. If it does, you're going to roll the sound a little bit. You're going to get something more like ra, ra. And, I mean, for me, hey, it took me a lot of time to learn to make the sound ra. You know, Spanish is my second language, and so I know the difficulties of forcing your muscles into new movements. I know it's not easy, but you can do it because I did it. Now, here's what I'd like you to do. We want to get that ra with the tongue pulled back into the R position, and with the lips making that W movement. We're going to make this sound 5 times, like ra, 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 ra. If you have a dog, they should have woken up by now. They'll probably be answering back, so sorry. But now repeat after me a few words here, small one-syllable words that employ this sound. Run. Rush. And how about rough and red? You see, that movement is one that you want to teach your muscles to do effortlessly. You want to repeat that movement many times, and that's what we're about to do right now, is repeat that movement so that you can make that effortlessly. Like I said, repeat these, just some quick phrases here that you could repeat after me now. Could I hear run away?
Run away.
Good. Get rest.
Get rest.
And Zeman, could I hear you try saying that as well? Get rest.
Get rest.
That's a good R. That's a good R sound. Well, I've got here some difficult sentences that I'm going to read out. What I'd like you to do is repeat them after me. All right. And Pai Boon, you as well. Well, if both of you could, actually, if you could mute, well, no, you could do it with the microphone. We'll do it one at a time. So could I hear road trip to Rhode Island?
Road trip to Rhode Island.
Very good. How about that, Pai Boon? Could I hear that?
Road trip to Rhode Island.
Very good. Sounding good. And could I hear I rode it?
I rode it.
That's a good R. R. Really stretching the lips out, holding that R position. R. Here's some tricky sentences with a lot of stressed R's that we want to take a look at. Ricky really has a great reason to reap rewards. There's a tricky one there. Read and write the right way before taking a right. And bring Rob's red book to read on the road. So all of those I will indeed have posted in the description of my podcast so that anybody who's interested can practice them. I like to always add in some idiomatic expressions before I wrap up any podcast because idiomatic expressions are extremely useful. When you use idiomatic expressions confidently, you show people that you are comfortable using metaphors. You're comfortable speaking in ways that may not make sense to people who don't understand that expression. For example, if you give someone a run for their money, there's a common expression. You know, people will say, hey, we didn't win, but we gave them a run for their money. That means that you're making somebody work hard to achieve something, working real hard to achieve something. You gave them a run for their money. Another one here, we'll say ruffled feathers. This means that people are offended by something. If there are ruffled feathers is literally referring to a bird. When a bird gets angry about something, you know, they ruffle their feathers. They make their feathers big and fat. That's how they show their displeasure. Well, that's what this idiom refers to. People being offended. So he ruffled feathers with his comments about the budget. Ruffled feathers. Real good idiom to keep in mind. One more that I'd like to bring up here before we wrap things up for today is bring to the table. Things that we offer, things that we contribute, are things that we bring to the table. And that's got that R, it's a stressed R after the B, bring. If somebody says, you know, let us know what you can bring to the table if you want to join in. That's like saying, let us know what you want to contribute. Let us know what you can offer, bring to the table. Well, this has been a fantastic podcast episode for today. I'd like to thank my friends here on Clubhouse for listening on in. I'm going to do a little bit more in the future on the R sound, indeed, both on Clubhouse. I'll do a room in the future with some exercises, with a number of exercises on how you can practice that stressed R. And I will also have this episode out for anybody who wants to re-listen to this stuff. For anybody who is here on Clubhouse, though, while I have you folks here, does anybody have any questions or anything pertaining to the R sound? Because anybody who has any questions on Clubhouse may also have questions that, you know, my podcast audience members have. And hey, if you folks want to ask, well, you may be saving somebody else some trouble who can't communicate it. Does anybody have anything? Well, I guess not today. No questions today. That's all right. I'll be back on later, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to let me know. Well, folks, enjoy your day. I know that we're all at different times of the day around here, so enjoy your day, enjoy your evening, enjoy your morning. I've had a fun time recording this podcast episode. I've got a few new listeners now, I hope. Well, have a wonderful day, and you'll be hearing many more good things from me in the days to come. Have a good one.